Hey, this is B Squared Budgets. My name is Britt. In this video, I'm going to be going over our annual budget and how I use it as a tool to manage our finances. So if you've seen any of our monthly budget videos, you will see a lot of similarities between this sheet and those because I pull all the information for those from this master sheet here. In addition to all the categories that are listed on our monthly budget, there are some additional categories that I include on our annual budget, and those involve the things that are taken out before we receive paychecks. So all deductions, taxes, health insurance, all those type of things. I like to have a record of all those deductions, but I don't include those on our monthly budget because they don't affect the month-to-month stuff. So as you can see, this top section is our income section. I include all the gross income from each category, and in this one I do a breakdown of all of those deductions that I mentioned, and then be able to calculate our net income and how much those paychecks are that we actually receive from my husband's job. And I do that along with the side job that I have recently picked up. And as you can see here, the first part of the year, this was not an income source, so all these spaces are blank, and then this area was added partially through the year. All of our other income areas are listed down here as far as the rent we receive from the basement apartment that we rent out. This is the other category, which comprises of any random money that comes in that isn't a part of one of these main income streams. And then as well, we have a line for our tax refund and the stimulus checks that we received this year. This number gives us our total net income. This is the number that I use on our monthly budget sheets to do all of our spending and tracking. And our gross total income is listed in this row. These categories are all the same as the ones that I use on our monthly budget spreadsheets, but it lists for every month of the year as well as a total for what that number is for the entire year and a monthly average. This spreadsheet also contains a percentage breakdown of each of the categories of our budget, so I can see how much of our net income and how much of our gross income is being spent on any of these categories. I have this separate table over here that compiles different items that go under the same category, so I can see totals for those as far as how much we're paying for housing, donation and gifting, savings and retirement. All of those different things are listed here. So when I'm setting up the budget at the beginning of the year, I put in all projected numbers for all of these different categories, and then as we go through those, I'm always updating this, and this will actually show a reflection of what happened during that month. And you can see it's marked off as complete across the top, that January through July so far have been completed, and these are the accurate numbers for what happened. August through December are still months that are not yet completed, so we are still able to adjust these and change these. That's one of the things that I find really powerful about seeing it in an annual format, because you can see what small changes can do over a long course of time. So being able to take $20 away from a particular category can affect the bigger picture. So for an example, I will show you, I wanted to reduce our car gas budget for the remainder of the year. We've definitely been coming in consistently under on that budget, so I feel confident in dropping this down. So I'm going to drop it down for the last 3 months of the year to $180. And as you can see here, that's a $60 savings, and I can then remove that number from my total for the year, and that gives me a total of $1,707.50 to reduce the total amount for that. And then coming down here to the bottom, we can see that I have a surplus of $20 that needs a new assignment, and $60 for the year. So for the remainder of the year, any extra money currently we are putting into this savings category, which I'm calling opportunity. We haven't quite decided exactly what this money is going for. We will have our emergency fund fully funded before the last 3 months of the year. So currently this money will be put to some specific use. Some may go to investing. We are considering some house projects. So for now, it's just falling into this category. So I can drop those out and then update these numbers to reflect what is left. And then we can see here that I have added $60 more to this area, and I can increase our yearly total for this opportunity savings. And I can also update this to show our total savings amount for the year. This is a new row that I added this year to this spreadsheet that shows our combined savings. So this tells us what is put into our retirement from the paychecks, as well as any money that we are saving throughout the month. I'm not including short-term savings like sinking funds. I'm only including money that's going towards the future as far as investments or long-term savings in this number. And this also allows me to see our monthly savings rate each month, as well as an average, and then our yearly savings rate. So when this budget is always balanced, this entire row here of net inflow and outflow is 0, as well as the total remaining column is also 0. I am aware that I could have formulas that it would automatically update this column to match the numbers in these rows. However, I do like to do this manually just because it really gives me a strong visual and connection with the changes that I'm making in my budget. Having the yearly numbers for every category also is a really helpful gauge for me to be able to look at things and determine how that feels when we think about things in terms of the entire year, to be able to see, does something feel worth it? You know, the amount that we spend on something like Pandora, so that just comes in at just under $60 a year. Do we feel like we get $60 of value? So it really changes something from being a $4.99 month charge to really looking at it from the annual perspective and evaluating if that works for us. The other area where this is really useful is for our short-term savings or sinking funds, because at the beginning of the year I am able to make a prediction of how much I think should be spent in each category, but then I do make adjustments. It's somewhat balanced throughout the year, so you can see there's some categories here like car maintenance, birthdays, and holidays where I've plugged in a particular amount, and this is what that breaks to when divided by 12, and that's how much is in each of these categories, and I haven't needed to make any adjustments to that because that's serving us well at this point. But there are other categories where things change. The haircut category we had planned for at the beginning of the year, we have since removed from our budget as I have started cutting my family's hair. So as you can see, it's been removed here. Also, different categories have been added. Our property taxes and homeowners insurance have been added. After we refinanced our house, we decided to pull our property taxes and home insurance from escrow and do those manually. So that was added partially through the year. Something like this for our car insurance, I had budgeted more at the beginning of the year, and then after we received our first 6-month bill, I realized that it was a little higher than it needed to be, so then those monthly averages for saving for that account I was able to reduce and put that money to other uses. So I really consider an annual budget to be the backbone of our whole budgeting system. This is where I'm able to make changes and see the long-term outcomes of those changes and be able to understand what's going on with our money. I hope this was helpful to you, and if you have any questions or recommendations, are there things that you would include in an annual budget that I haven't considered? Please leave that down in the comments below. All of our videos here are sharing about our personal finances as far as how we budget and what we are doing with our money. If you are interested to follow along, please consider subscribing.